First, I would like to introduce somebody and give him a big thank you because he has let us use this space. It's with Journey Church. Can you please introduce yourself to everybody and let them know, the service times and everything so they can come back?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for letting me up here. You let a preacher on stage, so this will be a quick 30 minutes, I promise. But yeah, my name's Steven Gonzalez. Some of y'all, I see some familiar faces, so you may know me as Steve-O, Pastor Steve-O, Steven, that guy my kids like, the weird, I don't know. It's just, I've been a youth pastor here in Victoria for a long time. We started Journey Church about 5 years ago. We started out, funny, as a mobile church, meaning every Sunday we set everything up and broke it all down. We started downtown, actually, which is kind of funny in what was Rosebud, and just kind of met there, and then had a couple other places. We were back downtown again at Power Avenue for a while, had another building we were in, and now we're back downtown again. So I don't know if it's a sign or if it's just like I'm stubborn and God's trying to tell me something, but we're happy to be here. Thanks to Bill for just working with us and really kind of seeing the vision and what we're trying to do. And so we're excited about being a part of just the community and what's going on around here. And and excited to help. Also, I'm kind of a tech guy, video guy, so I love doing this kind of stuff and making things like this just look good. So if y'all need anything, let me know. If y'all are downtown, you're in the building and you need help with stuff, let me know. I will help if I can. And thanks a lot to Krista, too, for just, it's been very, very a good working experience.
Very good. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, Sundays at 11 right here. And most Wednesdays at 7, again, right here. So if you're looking for a church, we are here. We'd love to have you.
Thank you so much. He's been fantastic. I text him. I'm like, hey, can you do this? Can you help me? And he's to the rescue. So he is such a wonderful guy to have in our community. So now I would like to talk about something. It's a really pressing issue. It's something that came up today, and I feel it really needs to be addressed first and foremost before we carry on in this meeting here. It is someone very special to our community's birthday, Tammy Murphy. Can you please come up here? Come on. She does so much for our community, and she's also a member of our success team. And so in trouble. Sorry, I had to do. You can't tell me it's your birthday. I'm warning you now. So if you guys could all help me sing her happy birthday. You ready? Let's go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Thank you for all that you do for our community, and happy birthday.
Thank you. She has celebrated me all day long. I feel very special.
You have spent all day long with me doing Innovation Collective stuff, so I feel very special. Thank you. So now I would like to take a moment to introduce all of you to some of our local success stories. So if all of you could please come up here. And then Michael Reyes, too. You're fine. So these are some of our local success stories that we've had that I wanted to feature so you guys can all kind of get a feel of what Innovation Collective is already doing. We also have quite a few businesses that are now working together that we've connected, so that is also something amazing that has come out of this. So I'm going to pass the mic, and they'll pass the mic to each other and introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about what they're doing and how Innovation Collective has helped.
Thank you, Carissa. It's so wonderful to be here. I'm from the area. I went away for a couple of decades, and I'm back. Even though I've been in Victoria for 10 years now, I tell you, I've never seen so much energy like I do now. I've spent most of my time going back and forth from Austin to Houston to Boston to different places. We are Halo Life Science. We're a biotech company. We've been thinking about where we want to reside for the next decade. And when I met the Innovation Collective folks and got back with some of my friends, I thought, I think I want to be here. I think I want to be here. There's a lot of excitement going on. There's a lot of great camaraderie, a lot of great sharing, and I'm just so happy that there's an opportunity for us to be here again. So again, I'm so happy to see so many of you that I haven't seen in a long time. I hope that we can stay here for another 10, 20 years. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Claire Santillana, and I'm the owner of Crossroads Art House. And I just want to say how amazing Carissa Winters is. Can we all give her a hand, please? Seriously. IC has already helped so much, so many people in so many ways, but I really appreciate the networking opportunities. I've been able to meet so many cool people because of IC and Carissa's hard work. So Art House will be opening like a hard launch in April. And right now we are booking art parties and team building parties and stuff like that for March. We are gonna be, I say, like a gym membership for artists. So artists can come and work at Art House and use our materials. We're gonna have a pottery studio. So super excited about that. I've also built some relationships in the community with local directors. So we have classes at Children's Discovery Museum, the YMCA, and another venture I'm really excited about that I would love to do art programming for is what these lovely people are going to talk about, so I will give them the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Flores. I am a local business owner. I am a taxidermist and artist new to the area. We're called Odd and Claw Taxidermy. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, online, and you can reach out to us through there. So like she was saying, we have this idea. It's called the CYC, the Crossroads Youth Center, and the whole idea is to adhere to junior high and high school kids, give them somewhere to go, give them something to do. Unfortunately, there's not enough here in Victoria for them to do, and it will kind of, keep them on the right track, help build self-esteem through exercises and programs, teaching them basic life skills, even have an art a stage for musicians and art shows so they can, perform to their peers. I want to also include a concession stand area so these kids can also start, working and, providing food and refreshments to their peers. Even as far as having like reading nooks so kids can come do their homework and, just gets them out of the house. Of course, it'll be supervised, but, it's not like it's your parents. So, right? I also plan on putting together what me and Claire came up with a 6-week course curriculum for the Art House, where I will be teaching intro classes with, Illustrator, Photoshop, just basic graphic design to kids who are interested, kind of get their foot in, wet, and that way, in case it's something that they want to pursue later on, it can be beneficial to our community as well. So I think I'm going to go ahead now and pass the baton to Ms. Shannon here because she's the real. There you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Shannon Mitchmore. I'm the director at Crossroads Christian School, and I'm also the new owner of the Teacher's Toolbox. So, yes. Glad to be here. And so Crossroads Christian School is going into our 9th year, and my vision and my heart has always been for the youth, the community, reaching the students one-on-one, offering them things from the community, bringing workshops in and things to our campus. So when Claire and I started joining, and she was teaching art classes at the school, and I'm trying to bring home ec back in and things like that, she introduced me to Carissa, who said, 2 hours ago, I was talking to someone who mentioned about a youth center, and I was like, well, I've always wanted to do a youth center. So my vision, writing on his idea with the collective, is I would like to build a youth center where our students, our special needs students, the community, they work there, our students can work there. I'm in talks with Melissa, where are you? Hi, Melissa. I'm in talks with Melissa to maybe open a coffee shop inside the youth center, because I know my students at the school have Starbucks delivered every day. I don't, but they do. And so if we had a coffee shop in there, and I would like people from the community to join in. I'm in talks with people to offer STEM classes from the Children's Discovery Museum. For, I know Joe has said he can come maybe do science projects, and Claire, the arts house, can do art. But I want pool tables, and I want a rock wall, and I want all these things that the youth need in this community. And I think everyone in this room can agree that the youth need something. They need connections away from technology. And they're coming out of the pandemic, and they've been at home. And some of these students, anyone here that's in education already knows that students come sometimes from broken homes, and when they get to campus, that's their safe place. So what I want to do is I want to extend what I'm already doing at Crossroads Christian School to a youth center. I want to provide a safe place where youth can come. They can make connections. There will always be something there that they will be interested in. And they can laugh and have fun and bring their friends. They can learn something, because I think we can agree we want to hit the whole child, socially, emotionally, physically, and academically. And if we can do that together and do our part in this community to input into that, we won't have to fear or be concerned of what the Victoria community will look like 30 or 40 years from now, you know? So I think it's critical that we deposit everything we can into the youth of our community and the surrounding areas. It'll filter out. So I hope you join us. We've got a Kickstarter Claire's helping me with, thank you. And all our social media, our website, it's up, but it is officially launching on Friday. So I'll send all that information to Carissa, and hopefully she'll send it out to all of y'all, and we'll be able to join together and do what we can to help the youth in our community. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. It is so amazing to see what they're doing in our community, what Innovation Collective is already doing, having someone bring their business to Victoria, create employment opportunities, and do innovative things, as well as our first business about to open, and then them all connecting through Innovation Collective and doing amazing things that are great for our community. So I really appreciate everybody in this community, the vision they have and these innovative ideas, and how they're all working together, because we're better together, guys. That's just facts right there. And so I love that this community recognizes that. Now, I would like to introduce somebody that has ingenuity, that is innovative, and super inspiring, Dr. Chance Glenn. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll sit over here. All right. Wow. Wow. This is amazing. I think what I want to do, you know, we all take pictures and selfies. I want to do one like this. Come on in.
I'll get in there.
We're going to do a selfie, but we're going to do it this way.
With the
so
crowd.
you can
Okay,
see
everyone
everybody.
pose in here.
Yeah, give us a... There we go. All right.
I love that.
That's a keeper.
This should show you he has an amazing personality right here. It's awesome.
But thank you for having me.
So if you could just tell me a little bit about yourself, starting with,
Oh,
don't worry, I'll
where do you
lead
want me to
you.
start?
Where did you grow up, and what kind of family did you have?
Okay, well, even when I start talking about growing up, it gets, I guess, a little complicated. I was born in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, but when I was very young, probably 3 years old or so, moved down to South Alabama. Now, you know, if you can imagine, this was in the mid to latter part of the 60s, and I know I don't look like it, right? Yeah. But, and you know, so you can imagine during that time, probably, you know, time of intense civil rights movements, all kind of things going on socially, and, you know, tumultuous things in the country. We moved down there. Now, this was a family of 8 kids who moved to a house that was not much bigger than this stage, the way it feels now, raised by my grandmother, who was also taking care of her elderly, well, very elderly father. and essentially lived off of her Social Security check until we began to work and everything. So that was the beginning, and education was very important, and so she made sure that we learned, and every one of us, and I was the youngest of that group, and every one of us went to college. Now,
That's
I can't say
amazing.
everybody finished, but we all went, yeah.
So where did you go to college?
I started off at Alabama A&M University in Huntsville, Alabama, mainly to play basketball, as you could probably tell. But what I really wanted to do was engineering. I got interested in that, and I got, I go about 6'4". At the time, when you're 6'4", in the NBA, you had to be a guard, and I wasn't a guard. I was a high flyer type of guy, but I wasn't a guard handling the ball, shooting. So I knew I wasn't going to play in the NBA. So I started to look at my career, got a co-op in Maryland with the Army Research Lab, and therefore transferred to the University of Maryland, and that's where I did my undergraduate degree in electrical engineering. And then continued on at Johns Hopkins and did my master's and PhD, all electrical engineering there at Johns Hopkins.
That's really amazing. And so what was your first job?
Well, I think that co-op job would really count. Now, my first job was probably a refreshment stand in front of our house, right? I mean, as kids, we got a little
Young
box.
entrepreneur.
Yeah, and got a little box, and, we would, and it was really neat because, we'd obviously, lemonade, but also we made popcorn and hand-churned ice cream, and that's what we would sell there. And that was money besides that, and picking up pecans and selling pecans to the mill was our money for the fair that would come later in the fall. So that's how we did things.
I love that young entrepreneurship. My son did that the other day, the whole lemonade stand thing, and he was making pretty good money with the neighbors. And I see him coming in and out of the house getting stuff out of my pantry, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Hey,
but he's being an entrepreneur, like you said. You got to
right?
sell
The
what you can.
supply
Yeah, I
chain.
was a supply chain. That's
Yep,
right.
hey.
And it shows it doesn't matter. Like a lot of kids throughout time, that's a thing in a place where they start really learning about entrepreneurship, if you really think about it.
Yeah, it is something that's in you. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are driven by, you see something that you just know it has to be, right? Somebody has to be doing this, and you look around, maybe they're not. Or you see a way to do something better. You see a way to help people. You see a way to make money. You see, there's a lot of different motivations, but it's always this thing about, can I do something a little better, a little different, or come at it from a whole new door? And I think that's something that it can be in you, but it also can be learned and acquired and all that also.
Very true, and I think it's also important people like you inspire, and you can bring that out of people and show them that they do have that inside of them. I see you do that all the time, so that's really amazing that you're able to do that and bring out that part of people.
Well, that's one of the opportunities and benefits of being in higher education. And I've been a professor and kind of made my way up through from 2003. And from that start, just really, I think the best time I've had in academia was a time that I could really interact with students, whether they're working on research projects or in the classroom and coming up with different ways to help people understand things. But then the other thing is, and the university that I've worked with I've been blessed to be able to connect with students who were going from one place and trying to get somewhere. And our president, Bob Glenn, always talks about our mission is to get students from where they are to where they want to go. But in order to do that, you got to know what they want and where they go. And a lot of times we don't ask that. We just say, come to this class, learn this subject, do this, get your degree, and go on. but where are they actually trying to go? What are they trying to do? And being able to work with students in that way and see the light come on, and also have the opportunity to see them grow up. So, now with Facebook, you kind of can see, I've seen students that I had from 10, 15 years ago, and now they got families and they got, careers, and they're, it's really, really, that's the most rewarding thing that I've seen and have experienced so far.
But I would like to take a moment to recognize your compassion and your passion for what you do in the students, and how much you really care about them beyond just, graduating or going off. It's more than that for you. And that's really something special. And I've noticed that with you and the staff there, that they care and they want the best, and they do ask those questions. And so that's really, really something amazing.
Well, not only the rewarding part of being whether it's a faculty member, staff member, in a university. And I think sometimes we discount what the impact staff members have, but those are the people that students often see first. And whether there's a smile on the face or not, that can change a person's whole day. And so there's a responsibility, I think, that we all have to create a welcoming environment, and then give them an entree to, their professional life, because that's what we're actually doing, creating a pathway for their professional life. And so that is a responsibility we all have, and that's why, that's what we try to do across the board, and, have some success sometimes.
Well, you do a fabulous job at it. And so what would you consider your greatest accomplishment in your own professional life? You have lots of them.
You said professional life. I was going to go to wife and family.
Well, that's a given. You talk about them all the time, which is amazing because they're awesome.
Yeah, yes. Professionally, wow. I think that, one, having the opportunity to create and innovate has been a continuous theme that has run through the different things I've done. So I've worked with the government. I've, founded companies, sold off technologies. I've, worked in higher education. I'm doing nonprofit type stuff. But all of it is about creating something and innovating something, and having something that helps people do something different or better or what have you. So I've had different types of quote unquote successes, had failures, and been able to learn from that as well. But I just think the theme about innovating and creating is probably where I would land. I can't think of any one.
I like how he leaves out he was nominated for a Grammy. Humble. He's an amazing singer, in case you guys didn't know that. But I love how you said your failures and successes, because tell me about your failures and how you feel that helped lead you on the path to the success you have had.
Well, okay, let me go to the singing, since you talked about
let's do it.
A success in that. I'll talk about a failure. And one of the things, so started a record label and brought a bunch of artists together, and we decided we're going to do a big concert in the DC area. And we got this venue, paid for it, all that stuff, and it could seat 5,000 people. And we were going to do a live recording and even video and all that stuff. And when the time came, this is a DC area, so you have to appreciate this, because traffic is already a big mess in DC. But this was around Christmas, and snow and wet snow came in. So if you can imagine, we've got an arena that can sit 5,000 people with about 500 in there. Oh, wow. And we had a couple of national level artists who were going to open for our artists, which was pretty cool, neat. We flipped the script a little bit. We did the concert, we did everything, but it just wasn't what we envisioned. And that was going to launch and it ends up turning out how we end up getting a Grammy nomination because of the connections we made. But that was a failure that hurt. And but what came after that, we turned lemons into lemonade, and that's what ended up allowing us to, acquire that Grammy nomination because of the connection we had made by doing that.
And isn't it so interesting? I love what you said, turn lemons into lemonade, and how a failure turned into something, because during that time where it hurt in the failure, something great actually came from a connection that you made during that time. Yeah. Because a lot of times when you're starting a new business or doing something, it can end up totally different than you think it is going to end up in the beginning. Yeah. So even though that didn't end up how you wanted it to, you got something so amazing.
Well, so, you talk about how do you learn from your failures, or what do you learn from your failures? Well, I learned to check the weather reports before you...
I was watching the sky tonight. I said, ooh, if it rains, people are going to be afraid.
That's a lesson. Since we're talking about failures, I got another one. And this was having to do with one of the companies we were running. And there was a time that we had a big proposal that we were putting in, and this was to the federal, a contract to the federal government to develop some technology, and this would have been a pretty monumental piece for the company at the time. But there was a deadline to when you submit it. And I was working with a partner, and I said, okay, look, I called him. I said, you're going to submit the proposal? It's like, yeah, but I want to read it. I want to get a cup of coffee and look at it and read it, and right? But turns out that the time, instead of midnight, which was expected, was 5 p.m. So we missed the deadline. And the thing is that we had already talked to the program director for that, and we knew we were going to get awarded if we submitted it, but we didn't, and it had impact. So that was another. But I'm not going to go and recount successes, but we've had them, but is always littered with some failures. But failure is never the end. The only time it's the end is when you're 6 feet in the ground. Before that, you always have a chance.
So with all the failures, I'm curious, how do you define success?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, let me put it like this, because I'm thinking about things like sometimes I talk to students about. And one of the things I really try to stress is setting a destination. When you say these are things you want to do, these are things you want to accomplish, have a destination in mind. And then once you have a destination, then you can begin to plot a path to get there. But if you're just saying, well, I want to do this, or I'm just trying something, and you don't really know where you're going, then you may end up somewhere else that you never even planned. So I think that success is about reaching the destination and the goal that you have set for yourself, whether it's a long-term huge goal or if it's a small one. But so those are the things that we all can do, and that is set goals for ourselves and then reward ourselves for achieving those goals, and don't be shy about it.
I love, when I achieve a goal, I reward myself. It doesn't matter if it's a blizzard at Dairy Queen or what it is. I'm like, right. I did it. It's celebrating those wins, right? Because we do have those failures. So when you do have a win, I think it's so important to embrace it and to celebrate it. Even if it may seem small to someone else, hey, that's your win, and you take it and you celebrate it.
So who was talking about establishing a rock climbing wall? Yes, in the back. So when you're climbing a rock climber, you don't go from the bottom all to the top in one move. You have to take each step. You have to decide which is the right hand hold and foot hold. And you can't get to the top unless you get to those intermediate levels. So really, in anything you're trying to accomplish, any big goal, there has to be a bunch of little ones that help you get there.
It's
And
the
so
stepping
that's
stones that open that door to the
Yes.
next success. Very true. And so, if you could give someone advice that was graduating college today, where would you say that they should focus their time?
Graduating. So, well, first of all, I would say that the next step of what you're doing should have already been planned before graduation day. So I would want to be talking to them a year before they graduate and all that. But I think the most powerful thing that you can do, and that's a picture of what we're here for today, and that is making connections and building a network. Because no one of us can say that we have achieved any type of success without someone else's help, guidance, advice, opening a door, closing a door. None of us can say that. And so I think it's very important to build a network of people that believe in you, that will be there for you, and that will help you when you're trying to make those steps. So that's probably, to me, more important than just saying, okay, just go put in your resume somewhere. Build that network. And you can do that while you're still in college, while you're still wherever you are. And all of us should be doing that. And I want to say something about us connecting at some point. So please allow me a chance to say something specific about that.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well,
This is your show. I'm just here.
well, thank you. Well, I've been really remarked and amazed at just in this room today, the people and what you all are doing around the city, around the region. These interesting things, these companies, these ideas, whether it's art, whether it's just, like, you know, a young man I've been working with the basketball league that's in town. How many of you knew that there was a professional basketball league playing in town? Okay, well, that's good. So
I went to a game. It is amazing. Me and my family had the best time.
Okay,
Best time.
all right, now let me ask you this follow-up question. How many of you been to the games? Fewer hands. Okay, so go out and support not only the league, but there are players from all over the area. Your sons, your friends, your cousins, everybody, they're there. So that's a great thing to do. M3BA. And I know, is Robert Royer here? I know, yeah. So, you know, talk to him. He's been doing stuff that you could get other major companies that have certain type of software that you can use on campus, but why not use what he's got if it's just as good as something else you can get? But my point is, and this is what I really want to drive home, we should be helping each other. Suppose Victoria was known as a community that we all go the extra mile to help each other's companies. We go to each other's restaurants, the barbecue here. We go to, the games we talked about. We use each other's technology. We go to the art shows and we support each other's foundations. And what if we were known that we did that? And invest. Many of you are sitting on investment dollars that you can do. What if you invested in people and young people who had ideas here, and it was known that we did that? What would happen?
And that's starting to happen. And that's when you'll hear me say, I love our community. Our community's amazing. It's not just me saying that. It's that I see that happening in real time with people helping people in their own backyard, right? So it's so really just inspiring to see that, and you're a person that does that, so thank you. I've seen you out in the community. I see what you're doing. It's not what you even have to do, nothing related to your job. It's that you're choosing to invest in this community. So you were talking about connecting with people, having people help you. Do you have a mentor that comes to mind of somebody that really inspired and helped you along your life journey?
Well, there are several, but let me start earliest. Sixth grade teacher, Miss Cartez, I still remember her name. She once called me the professor in class. And that was because, as you can see, I love to talk. And my answers would be flowery and all that stuff. And that she called me professor. And I started to think about, one day I think I want to be a college professor. Now remember, I'm a young black young black kid in southeastern Alabama in a class that was, I guess newly integrated. And this is a white teacher who said that to me. Now, think of the impact that has on me as a young student.
And I just want to take a moment to point out, words are so important. It's so careful to choose how we use our words, how we inspire each other. And I know she was just talking about teachers in the school in our community. This is proof right here. One word inspired him his entire life, that he is sitting on this stage right now. It was powerful enough to point this out. So you guys, when you say something nice to somebody, know it matters.
Yes, it matters. And it's not just to young people, it's to each other. You can change the course of a person's day, just how you interact.
Just smile at somebody, man.
To notice, to, acknowledge that a person exists. Those kind of things are very important, but that's one. The other one in college, a professor who ended up becoming, well, first of all, he's my first electromagnetics 1 and 2 professor. So, and you can imagine how difficult a course like that was, but he helped me believe that I could do it. And he stuck with me. And it turned out he ended up becoming a president of a university I was working at the time, so it was kind of cool. But he was a mentor. And then my thesis advisor at Johns Hopkins, another one who I'm still in connection with, that, again, but the root of those things are people believing in you and not giving up on you and making you believe that you can do something and that something's in you. You may not see it yourself, but they see it. And they can help you to get there. That's the kind of the theme if you asked about somebody that makes an impact.
And I would like to take a moment too, if you're in our success team, if you can just stand up for a moment so everyone can see, because you guys have all been mentors and inspiring me and so helpful. So if you could just take a moment to stand up. These are people in our very own community that are taking the time to give back and to mentor and do things like he said. And there's been so many of you here that have said, I want to help. How can I mentor? And no, it makes a big difference and can change the trajectory of somebody's life.
Yes, and we're here, UHV, Victoria College, see Dr. Kent is here. Dr. Glenn is here, Dr. Colwell and others, faculty, Ortiz Garza, Professor Ortiz Garza. And I'm not going to start calling names. I don't want to miss anybody.
Amy Mundy, VC.
But thank you everybody who's here. But the point I'm bringing it up is that, the young people that are a part of these institutions, they need to be here too. And we need to connect it, that connective tissue. While we're helping ourselves, we help them, we help each other, and let's uplift this community in a way. It's not, pulling up from the dregs, because we don't have an awful community. We have a great community, but let's uplift it to almost being a model around the country about how you can do it. And so that you have something said about Victoria, it's a place where you can actually thrive.
Victoria, better together, right there.
So let's be that. And we all, and it's not just talk. We all can do that. You can stretch yourself just a little bit, find somebody or some company or organization or something that you can support, and go do business with them, do a deal with them, talk to somebody you wouldn't normally talk to, and just expand yourself while you're helping each other. That's what I would say.
And it is. It's as easy as, when I was working with Bo from Moonshine, he's great. I took him to Texas Liquors. He hadn't really been in there before, and now he's doing business with her just because I was like, hey, come over here and let's go in here. So it just takes a minute of saying, let's go over here and let me show you this place, and let me go eat at that business. Let me take you over here to have barbecue or whatever it may be.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
but yeah, so on that, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever gotten, and why was it so important, since we're talking about mentorship and, all these things?
Well, I have to give credit to my oldest brother who said to me, because I was always a person that I tore everything apart. I could fix anything too, but anything electrical, electronic, I'd take it apart, want to figure out how it worked. I took electronics class in high school. And he's the one who said, oh, you know what, you ought to look at electrical engineering. Now, I don't know how he knew, because he wasn't, into a lot of that kind of stuff, but that's what and that's what made me look at it and think about it, and that's the path I took. So I think that's one of the best advice I had. The other one was, to marry the woman I married. That was a piece of advice.
Great
that was
advice.
given to me too, and we've been married for 32 years, Marsha and I, and we have 4 children that are all doing different things, and one of them's here at UHV. As a matter of fact, it's her birthday today as well. So I don't know if she's watching, but I'll say
happy birthday.
happy birthday to Morgan. When I get back home, we'll, have your party and all that.
You bringing the fiddle player with you?
Maybe.
He's awesome.
Yeah. But that's a great day today, and happy birthday to you as well.
So who's the most innovative person that you've met, and why do you think that they're so innovative?
Besides me.
Besides you, you are.
See,
you
no,
blow
you know
my
what?
mind. It's amazing.
I did that on purpose, because one of the things I always tell people, don't have false modesty. If somebody says, oh, that's a great thing, say, oh, no, I didn't, that's, people tend to do that. But if somebody compliments you or says something, and don't be ashamed to say, yeah, I'm good at something. Well, but anyway, no, I wouldn't say that. I met a lot of people. My partner, as a matter of fact, the one who I mentioned didn't put the proposal in. He's one of the creative and smartest people I've known and met. There's Dr. Scott Hayes.
There's your shout out.
Yes, he's out there. So, but I've met a lot of people, even on a campus here at UHV. There's just people and what we need to do is unleash it and give it the ability to flourish, and not suppressed by frowns, by grumbling words, just the kind of things that keep people from even speaking out. We can do that, and especially those in any position of authority. We have that power, for good or for bad, that we can encourage, like we've been talking about, or we can discourage. So we want that innovative ability to flourish. And a lot of times people who are innovative are also a bit introverted. Now, you may not believe this, but I'm actually an INTJ. And I is introvert, but so I'm introverted to a certain extent, but we need to give people the ability to reach out and to share their ideas.
Very true. And so I know you're into Star Trek, correct?
Yes.
And so did that inspire some of your
Yeah.
technology things that you've done? And can you tell me a little bit about those things?
Well, I have a video series I've done on YouTube, and it's called Something to Think About. You probably could find it if you search it. But one of the things I talked about was the top 10 technologies that's inspired by Star Trek. And I know
that.
you probably easily will know many of them, like obviously your flip phone, your touch pad, your sliding doors, your speaker phones, your flat screens, things like that that we now take for granted. We're all kind of inspired by that series. And even more crazy things that I'm involved with now regarding space travel and technology. I'm doing some work with SpaceX, but I'm also chasing down some really cool technology and space travel.
You like how he just threw, just doing some work with SpaceX. No big deal.
But what was the question?
Yeah, you were talking about Star Trek and all the
Star
innovative
Trek,
things
yeah.
you're doing. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, technology.
Let me tell you the reason why it inspires. It actually has nothing to do with technology. The inspiring thing to me about Star Trek, especially when I was young, seeing a future where people work together from all backgrounds. Now, you think about this. This series was formed in the 60s, 1966. You had different races of people on the bridge. You had someone from, one of the officers was from Russia during a time where we're in the Cold War. Black officer, Asian, all different types of people working together in a future that seemed like people got along and did things together, solved problems, and enjoyed each other. That's what was appealing to me, and as they held on to that throughout all the series and stuff, some of them did a good job of them, some of them didn't, but that was really the genesis, and that's what kind of kept me to it, and that's what I, kind of been drawn to.
So who's going to go binge watch Star Trek now? I'm going to see it in a totally different light.
Yeah, but if you look at it in that light, I think you'll appreciate it more and more for what it means and what it says and some of the messages, the subtle messages. Even with, Mr. Spock is my all-time favorite character of anything.
I saw it as your phone screensaver.
Yes, and but the reason is that he's cool, he's calm, he's the smartest guy in the room. He's always got the answer.
You sure have a lot in common with him.
That's what
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I always fancied myself. So a lot of times when I walk around a campus, college campus, as I was coming, I would think I was in Starfleet Academy, and So it was an inspirational thing, and that's what stayed with me and continued to drive the way I think and the things I do and all that. So if I do have time, I want to talk about the foundation I'm a part of.
You sure do. Go for it.
Okay, because I call this, my fountain of good works, because I want to have a place and a thing where I kind of do things to help people according to the abilities and gifts that I've been given. So the Morning Bird Foundation is the name of it. And if you wouldn't mind, check it out under morningbirdfoundation.org. But the primary goal is to provide opportunities for STEM education to underrepresented groups. And whoever is not fully represented in STEM, we want to help through scholarships, through STEM education, through inspirational opportunities, internships. We work with companies, with universities to help shepherd those opportunities, and that's what we're doing through that foundation. You'll see all the things that are there, and one of the things that's a part of it, the Morning Bird Academy, that's a training, and there's a innovation community that we're building where people can share ideas. And you could go on there now, you could join up, and if you have ideas, you can share them with each other, and whether it's actual drawings and music and all this kind of stuff, you can do that. And so
That's
I
fantastic.
invite you to go, please check it out. Drop a message in a contact box and just say you said hello. But also use that as a way, let's use that to communicate with each other and help each other, again, do good things with and for each other.
And what I love so much about you, one of the things that I admire is that as I'm asking you questions about yourself, you're making sure to tell other people about how they can be helped and inspiring them. And so you don't even really focus on yourself. You're focusing on our community and other people, which I find that so inspiring.
Well, I appreciate that. If you think about some of the greatest people who ever lived, and in your own mind, you can think about who that might be to you. Probably they're selfless people. And I'm talking about the people that you can think of that you only need to use one name in order to know who they are. They're probably because they were selfless, they were giving, they gave of themselves, and they helped other people. And even if you are selfish and want to benefit, a good strategy is to help other people, because you build a network of people who are good to you, who owe you maybe, right? But that's still a good strategy. But even if you're not and you want to help other people, you're gonna do good, and that's gonna not only percolate through, but if you inspire other people to do the same thing, think about the network you then create. So, I think that's what we can do and that's the thing, if we watch the news, because the news is invested in selling bad news, because that's what people watch. So they keep the bad news coming, but there's so much good that's going on, and there's so much positive messages that are out there amongst all of us. We just need to share it more and talk about it more and empower goodness. We need to empower goodness amongst each other. That's
So true, so true. Great point. And so some people might know that you're an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I did that.
He's done everything. I'm
I
telling
went
you.
to one of those schools, it was in Alabama. It's called Alabama School of Fine Arts. It was a institution that, it still is. How many of you remember a TV show called Fame? Anybody remember that? Well, they have all the dance, theater, visual arts, all that stuff. So I went to one of those schools when I was in the 9th grade. I ended up being able to have a show in a museum that was there. But one of the things, there was 2 things that I did. One was that I wanted to play basketball, and they didn't have a basketball team. And number 2, while I had artistic ability, I didn't have an artistic person's mindset. And I felt like everybody there was crazy. So I went back home to the high school. Dothan, Alabama was where I lived. Dothan High School, and that's where I finished up and played basketball and did all that.
So do you still draw, do any kinds of art?
A little bit. It's more kind of helps me design things and think creatively about stuff. Because in order to draw and paint, you have to first visualize. It has to be here. I used to always wonder why can't everybody draw and paint? But I think sometimes it's just how you see. And if you see things a certain way, you have to visualize it. Then you can use whatever medium there is to. So the running theme and with everything I do is just like creativity and innovation. How do you create something new or interesting and all that? At that time, it was art, paint, drawing. Later it became music. Later it became, artistic, electronics and engineering and all this. So it's just creativity.
And it seems they've all somehow worked together or tied together in some kind of way. Like when you're designing your things, that's the art ability. So it's really cool to see your different creative avenues that you've taken and how they connect.
Yeah, and that's what I, like. That's what I want to try to inspire in other people. But we all want to be appreciated for either what we do, what we say, all that. And so, we put ourselves out there and we decide to take a risk, get onto the stage, and actually put ourselves out there. And you take the risk of being rejected, or that it's not good enough, or you're not good enough. That's the risk that we take. And, whether it's entrepreneurship or anything else you're trying to accomplish, you take that risk. And if we can create an environment that allows people to take those risks without being destroyed, think of the beautiful things that will begin to unfold. And I keep going back to this, but I keep saying that Victoria could be that place. And if we are doing it, we continue to promote it, let people around the state, country, whatever, know that that's what we're known for. And that can be the thing. So that's what I keep coming back to, and I hope we latch on to that.
Well, I'm latching on to that and going for it, and I think the people in this room are too. So we're ready.
Well, one of the things that, and if you're doing this, I would be very happy. You probably are, but do we have a listing of all the different, whether it's businesses, entrepreneurial things that are out there that we all can put hands onto, whether it's on the website or whatever that
I'm doing
people are doing. There you go. So yeah, I figured you would be. But that can be something that helps us all connect together. So now, okay, I could go on Amazon and order some sort of thing, but perhaps somebody here has that. And before we do that, maybe let's check and see if somebody in Victoria can do the same things that we would go out on the national market or whatever and do. That could be a thing.
Well, and as you start digging, and I've made it a big point to shop local, I have found amazing places and amazing things. And so we have a lot of awesome places to go here. It's just you've got to do it and support it. Yeah. So my question to you, too, that I'm really curious about are, what are some books that you would recommend? I love reading.
Well, my memory is such that, I don't, sometimes specifics don't come through. But I definitely read, Einstein's biography. That's one that, and it's not so much because it's not chock full of equations and math. It's about the story that is behind how he did, what he went through, all of that. So that's definitely one. Then I did my research and PhD stuff in a area of science called chaos theory. If you remember Jurassic Park, the movie, there's a guy on there played by Jeff Goldblum who was the scientist, where he was a chaos, he said a chaositician. That's what he called himself. Well, chaos theory was a big thing in the 90s, and it began to flourish. I did my research in that area, but in particular, that is a kind of creative aspect of science that I just got enamored with, and it ends up turning into all kind of beautiful fractals and pictures, and I try to find out a way to use it for technical purposes, and that was the basis of my work. So, that's one of the areas I was in. But
that's so interesting.
What the question you asked, though, was...
A book, any books that you've read that you like.
That's what I was getting at. The book I was going to suggest was Chaotic Vibrations, which, again, is not highly technical. It's written on a layman's point, but all the, not only beautiful pictures, but the background of what people were doing, all that stuff. And then, of course, I've read tons of science fiction stuff. And a little secret is that I've got thousands of comic books.
Love that.
So, and I'm not a comic book collector. I liked reading them. And I just, over the years, collected, I've got probably 5,000 or more.
So what to get them for a gift, comic book.
But the thing is, and this is like, for young people too, is that it actually increases your vocabulary and your creative thinking, your ideas outside of the box, that does that. Because I learned what invulnerability meant by reading a comic book, you know, and so it's interesting. But anyway, that's what things that I read.
That's really interesting. I love that you're sharing these things about yourself because it's things we would otherwise maybe never know. So thank you for that. And I want to ask you, what do you think our community needs to continue to do so that we grow and become more vibrant?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've talked about it and probably beaten it to death here, but I just think that we need to connect and support each other. And those of you that have resources, you have knowledge, you have connections, take the extra effort to help other people get there too, and use that to help the people in this community. And that is everybody, not just from a certain group, because I think we can find ourselves disconnected, whether it's by race, by culture, by age, but the only way to break that down is deliberately. And we've talked about this, about getting people into the tent, and you have to actually deliberately go out and get people sometimes.
So are we challenging everyone in this room to go out and meet someone new that they normally wouldn't talk to and connect with them? Okay, challenge, guys.
Invite them to this, invite them to be a part of this collective that we're building, and say, let's make Victoria better than it was yesterday.
Better together.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, that can become something that we say about Victoria, right?
Very much true, and I already see it happening.
Yeah.
And so, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we go to Q&A?
Oh, we're gonna do Q&A. Oh,
yeah, we are.
All right. Well, you talked about the music. I got kind of inspired to do something for Christmas, so I put a song together and put it out on YouTube. So
it's
please
so
go
good.
And check it. It's a Christmas song, so it might be a little too late.
So what do they look under YouTube? Where can they find this? It's a full-blown music video. It's amazing.
Actually, just search on the Morning Bird Foundation on YouTube, and the music will be there. You'll see a bunch of music I've done over the years, but that song will be there. I actually did a video with the music. I just was playing around, and before you know it, it was done. So let me know what you think. But I'm also inspired me to say, so I'm planning to record something for Christmas to have maybe a mini album of some sort ready for this coming Christmas.
I'm ready for your Christmas concert in Victoria. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. So.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice. I mean, I miss singing. I used to sing a lot, or a whole lot. I just, but I haven't had the opportunity other than the national anthem I get to sing at our commencement. But I haven't had a chance. So anyway, I think that's one of the things to be nice.
Well, before we wrap up, just question, what inspired you to start singing? When did you start singing?
Oh, that was, growing up, being a part of a church. And the interesting thing about our church was that we didn't sing with music growing up. So it was all a cappella. So you had to know how to hit a note. You had to know how to harmonize. You had to know how to keep it in tune throughout the whole song. And you kind of learned it in your head because there wasn't a piano or anything in the church. So that's kind of how it started. Then as I've done other things, I was part of a church in Maryland that we started, and that was what got me to write music. And you asked about one of the things I'm most proud of. I think that might be, because I've written probably about 50 songs or so, some of them on albums we talked about. I'm proud of that writing ability and having been able to do that. So yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that's out there. So, check it out. Let me know what you think. I'll be happy to hear it, good or bad. See ya.
He's amazing. So I would like to start the Q&A part of this. Who has a question that they would like to ask Dr. Glenn?
Ask Dr. Glenn.
Oh, that sounds like a good talk show. I like that, where we're going with this.
Uh-huh.
Here, he's bringing a mic over to you. If you'll please introduce yourself and then go with your question.
Hello, my name is Christopher McDonald, and my question for you is, how much did having a vision have to do with you and going in your career path and going into your life decisions? Like, how much was, you seeing, a part of, or seeing where you wanted to be a part of your success?
I think that was, for me, was very important because, like you said, it sets a destination. And as we all know through life, there's all kinds of obstacles and hurdles and walls that you encounter, and you have to figure out how to go over, under, around, divert. But you want to make sure that in the diversion, you don't completely go off to somewhere else if that's not your true goal. So having a destination, that's what the vision is all about. In order to have it, you got to see it. And so I really say, see where it is, what you want to be. I ask students about where they want to be in 10 years and 20 years. What kind of life do you want? And I don't say career. I say, what kind of life do you want to have? And then start making the decisions that will get you there. And also say no to the things that won't get you there. And that's a hard thing too.
That's so important.
Because you could say, yeah, I want to do this, and all of a sudden you're off and over here, and this is what you're doing when you really wanted to be there. So that's why it's important to have a vision in place. And again, if somebody inspires it in you, that's great. It can be parents, it could be friends, it could be a teacher, it can be, and we all have people like that, I think.
Does anyone else have a question? If you'll please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Luis Jimenez with the Movement Lab. Compelling vision, right? That's wonderful. But I would like to ask you, what was your lowest point, without getting too personal, right? Mm-hmm. What was the lowest point in how you bounce off and you went back to on track?
Low points, lowest points. I remember at one point, in order to make ends meet, I was on top of a Blockbuster video store shoveling snow in order to make ends meet for a family, not just myself, and I can remember some of that. I never got to the point to say, oh, what am I doing up here? Because I knew what I was doing. I was trying to, whatever it took to get some reasons so I can take care of my family. But I knew that there was more. And again, I never lost sight of that. And this was before going into ultimately becoming a professor and all that other stuff. This was before all of that. But I never lost sight of it. And so, that was a low point. But also the thing that was really good about it was the support and the confidence that my wife had in me at the time to say, we know this is not your story. This is a chapter in your story. And I think that would be how I answer that question. Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question?
Hey, Dr. Glenn. First of all, I just want to say you had me fooled. I thought you were 45, so it worked.
Can you introduce yourself really quick for those
Robert
that might
Royer
not know
with
you?
Building Brands Marketing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you made a comment earlier about the UHV students should be the people in these seats as well, right?
Yeah,
and
that's right.
I definitely agree with that. And I could tell you, as Building Brands being a job provider in the community, we've struggled. We're regularly hiring for 2 or 3 positions, and we don't get a lot of applications coming from UHV. We have interns, everything, on a regular basis, and I'm a relatively young alumni from UHV, and I have difficulty connecting with some of the students from UHV when I'm trying to seek them out. Do you have any suggestions on how we could get more of that student body in these seats and a little bit more participation and activeness, in these types of things in the community.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. First of all, we are open very much to that. But like any large entity, is hard to get to the right door. But once you get to the door, then it's about what we do. But in this room, you've got the president of the university sitting right there to your left. You've got the dean of the business college sitting over here, dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Social Sciences sitting over to your left, and myself. Between all of us, we should be able to make the right kind of connection, but career services and all of that. But it's really about, we can set the table, we can put food on the table, but we've got to get the students to come and eat. And that's part of the challenge that we have as an institution is, here are the opportunities, but can we get them to get to the table? And that's about inspiring to say, look, here's all these great things, and you can be a part of not only the campus, but the Victoria community. So as a community, we have a responsibility to make Victoria an open and welcoming place for those students to say, not only do I want to study here and get my degree here, but guess what? I want to stay here and work with companies and things like that are here. So we have work to do that, so they will come and see and be connected to those opportunities that we have.
And we've already been working on that. We're talking about using the buses to bring them to events and doing other things
Whatever
that we're
it takes.
brainstorming about. So we've got some pretty good things in the works for that.
And they're the people we have the people in this room who can make those decisions about that. So that to me is a no-brainer. So let's figure that out, and let's get students from UHV, Victoria College, let's get them here so that they can take part into this thing.
And does anyone else have a question back there?
Hi, my name is Keisha Smith. I'm a grant specialist for the City of Victoria, and I also am the founder of Pampering People, a project to bring overlooked basic needs to people in the community. But my question is, in your work with students and a lot of what you do, what gaps are students teaching you about that you have not seen or hadn't picked up on until they mentioned it, brought it forward, talked about what they were doing in their lives?
I think one of the things I just alluded to is feeling a connection to the community. Many students say that they don't feel that. Some even say that they feel unwelcome in the community. And so we've got to do a better job of opening that up and introducing them to the good things that are out there. So many of you who have these businesses, things like that, have a UHV day, student day or something. Come and, whether it's restaurants, whether it's, clothing, whatever we have out there, let's do things to welcome the students and let them know that we know you're there on the campus, and we, want you to be a part of this. I think that's one of the number one challenges that I've heard with regards to our students who are on campus. But then the other challenge is just opportunities, and Roberts has alluded to, there's opportunities that he have, but many think, okay, I'm gonna get what I get here, and then I'm off to Austin or Houston or somewhere else. But what do we have here so that students will want to stay here and help us build the kind of community that we're talking about? So I think those two challenges, probably more than anything else, are a thing. We've all have, well, I have to tell you, and Dr. Glenn, cover your ears here, but I feel like I've been here, I've gotten 10 years of experience in the 2 that I've been here. Just what we have had to work with and deal with regard to COVID, the weather issues, and all the other things, the challenges that we've had to have. on the campus and providing something that really students can thrive in. We've all been, burning the midnight oil and gray hairs. I mean, I do have them. I just keep it cut so you don't see them. But we've all been doing that, and so that's been a challenge in itself, creating a safe environment, but an environment that helps people still feel connected. I mean, I know all of you have been happy just to be back amongst each other. Think how disconnected we felt over the past several years. And imagine a student who comes to a campus, lives in a dorm, but then they have to take classes online because of the situation, and now disconnected you are. Things like this are challenges that we try to help students get through, even while we're trying to get through them ourselves.
And Innovation Collective, I know that we work on a large scale for this, but for me personally in this community, that is a big mission to make sure that people want to stay here and that they feel our community is great and that we support each other. And I love your idea of having, a day for people that are going to VC or UHV or whatever. And two, it's making them feel welcome. Like you said, the challenge of meet someone new. Let's go on the campus and let's all befriend college students at VC and UHV. Let's make those our friends too. I think it's when you're here feeling welcome in the community and valued, we all want to be seen, heard, and valued at the end of the day. So I think if we give that to the students, it will make all the difference.
Yeah, and in those things, give them a discount, so.
Free. I'm gonna do free T-shirts and pizza. That'll go a long way, right?
That's how you get people there and connected. And some of you just
we all like discounts.
Yeah, that's right. But some of you just trade on connection and networking and all that. That's how you get people to participate, especially students. Give them some free food.
Yeah, right. Good point. And then we have time for one more question.
Yes, Mark Hinojosa. Really, all of your questions are they were all a culmination of the questions that I wanted to ask, and they've been very good questions. Mine, being born and raised here in the community, spending most of my life here, the majority of my life, raising my family here, and I see all the different sectors of the entrepreneurs, the business owners, the workforce, the members of the city government, things of that nature. We've had these same discussions for 20, 30, 40 years. How do you keep them here?
Yeah.
I think UHV plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us need to educate, other than the teachers and the educators that are there on campus, of how diverse our university is.
Yeah.
Being in the nonprofit sector, that was my supply chain for workforce when I was with the Boys and Girls Club, with the VCAM, who I'm at now. And I counseled a lot of those students because they were first-generation college students. The majority of them were minorities. They were away from home for the first time. So that's intimidating in itself right there. So if you think about that, I think it's our obligation as longtime community members, as workforce, as government, to go to the campus there, show your face and be there, and make them feel more welcome and make them feel more comfortable, because the diversity on that campus, it's amazing. I'm amazed at that.
I definitely, agree with everything you've said. And, I'm going to be blunt that I think the best way, I'll just say one of the best ways that we can help this community thrive is you help us as UHV to grow. Because if we start to have thresholds of 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 students on that campus, then businesses will thrive because those students are going to be doing things, and they want to, more restaurants. Your Chick-fil-A will not be able to, you wouldn't be able to walk in there because of the people. And the other things that will grow, because if we draw more and more students here, now we have work to do on our campus to make it an appealing place that students want to come here, stay here, graduate here, work here. We have work to do as a campus, but if we can help each other do that, that's going to help create a thriving community of young people that are also driving business. And that will help us. So that's a thing that can really help this community among the many other things we're talking about.
And UHV gives so much back to the community, which I have to say is really amazing. I mean, Innovation Collective and so many other things. And, you know, there's so many things to utilize, too. Your makerspace, that's really cool. And the public can come, which is amazing.
Come and use it.
My daughter heard about those printers, and she's like, Mom.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's going to try to live inside of there with all the innovative things.
There's all kind of things you can do. And you know, it's a public institution, so it's open to the community. The things that we have there, you can utilize. You just have to schedule it and all that. But it's a public institution. So, you know, there are things that you can do that you may not think about, again, that can help the community thrive and we can work together. So that's, if you take anything away from what we've talked about tonight, that would be it, is about how can we work together to support each other and help this community thrive. And there are deliberate, specific things that we can do to do that. So I encourage you to do it.
And your challenge of making a new friend in the community that you normally wouldn't, you know, hang out with or run into somewhere, you know, go out and make that friend, whether it be a student at VC or UHV or just someone that is out in the community, because that's how we're going to start connecting, is getting outside of our boxes that we're in and actually talking to each other. And that's how Victoria is going to thrive, when we start working together and being a community. And I want to, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to do something, don't laugh, but there was a song I wrote a little while ago, and it actually fits. So I'm going to try to, we'll see what.
I was so hoping for this. You made my night.
Now,
Thank
if
you.
it turns out bad, you know, cut the feed.
Blame me.
Turn off erase the tape. But it's about, the name of the song is Can You Imagine? And it's, if you can only stop and imagine all the things that we could do, if we reach for each other and believe, if you could only stop and imagine all the places we could go, I forgot the word. So then there's a chorus that says, can you imagine, can you imagine, can you imagine a better place for you and me? Only imagine, only imagine, only imagine the kind of place that this could be. So, that's what.
I mean, I think that Victoria should have a commercial advertising our city and that we're better together and have that song right there.
We can use a song.
That
it's
would
not
be
being
amazing.
Used anywhere else, so.
And I
I'll share
appreciate
it with
you so much. Thank you for doing this. And you are such an inspiration, and our community is so, so lucky to have you. Can we all give him a big round of applause?
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it. And Innovation Collective feels just so lucky to be here in this community. And I know, as being the community lead, I also do. Please have a safe trip home. And I know that we have places that are open that are right here downtown that you can go visit. El Paso, which they did the food, and Moonshine did the drinks. So you guys have a wonderful time tonight. Thank you so much. And happy birthday again to you.